Upon arrival to Fairbanks, which is the orienteering golf course, you'll be presented a large open field. It has at least a dozen 5-gallon orange buckets out there, and you'll have some tennis balls. Now hopefully you have some 10 essentials with you, namely some compasses, because compasses is what you're actually going to need, because after all, it's orienteering golf course. So you'll have a start point, and they'll get some instructions on how to play, but I'm going to give you a couple of hints of what to do. First things first, seek out and find the 100-foot pace count area. They'll be somewhere along the edge of the field somewhere, and your mayor should be able to tell you where it's at. But pace out how many paces it takes to get to 100 feet. Now this could be that you use one pace as a left is 1 and a right is 2, or some people will go a pace is actually a left then a right. So every time your right foot hits the ground, that's 1. It doesn't matter how you do it, just so long as you know how many paces it takes to go 100 feet.
Good morning, Mayor. We are the Ninja Rabbits from Troop 324.
Okay, so do you have a patrol yell?
We are Ninja Rabbits. We are like Windy Day, kicking like a kung fu movie.
So who's your patrol leader?
Welcome to Fairbanks, Alaska, the orienteering golf course. And here is the script. At the start point, you'll be given a ball and a sheet of several headings with distances. Use these headings and distances to find each successive bucket. Toss the tennis ball from the start line to the first bucket you have determined by the use of the compass. Continue tossing the ball, keeping count of how many tosses it takes to get the tennis ball into the bucket. Annotate the number of tosses that it took. Also, write down that letter of the alphabet that is written on the bucket. Repeat this for the next point. Start tossing the ball from the bucket that you are located. Continue until completed. Additional points are awarded for the top 5 places. Emphasis is placed on finding the correct holes in the correct sequence. Be careful. There are many other buckets in play that are not part of the course. A 100-foot pace count course is provided to determine your pace count. You may begin.
So this is basically how it's going to go. You're going to have a start point, and then you're going to have some kind of heading on a piece of paper that also gives you the distance of what you need to travel to your first bucket. So let's say that this distance is 150 feet. We know by our pace count that that should be 1.5 times whatever your pace count is. So you'll need to do a little bit of math. It's not that difficult, but here's the catch. If you don't know your pace count, what I'm going to do setting up this orienteering golf course is I'm going to put a bucket possibly here or here in the same line of what direction that you're heading. Why? Because I want you to be able to know what the pace count is of how far that you've gone. That's important in orienteering. The other thing which you might see is another bucket that's exactly 100 feet, either left or right of the target. And this is so that you make sure that you can read your compass correctly, that you're actually going for the right bucket and not be fooled on one side or the other. So buckets farther or nearer, you have to watch your pace count. For buckets that are the same distance but different heading, you have to watch your compass and be very accurate. Now these won't be within 10 feet of each other. These got to be at least 25 to 50 feet apart, depending on the distance. If it's shorter, it can be a little closer. If it's longer, it has to be a little bit further away. So once you define the bucket by sending somebody out and having them pace count so that they get the right bucket, then the person who has a pretty strong arm throws the tennis ball, and it lands here the first time, and he throws it again, misses, but he gets pretty close, and then he puts it into the bucket third time. So the count for that is 3. That's 3 shots to get it in the bucket. Now the next bucket, wherever that may be, maybe it's over here, and it takes 2 to get it in there. That's a 2. You have to start from this bucket and throw it all the way until you get it in the bucket. If it goes in the bucket and bounces out, too bad. You have to toss it in there again and get it to stay. Okay, so that is how the golf works, and this is how the buckets are set up, so that you not only get your pace count right, but you also get your orienteering or reading your compass correctly. So this is a quick video of how to use one of these compasses. This is an engineering compass, and you can see that it has the arrow right here. So the position to be using it is that direction. Okay, so you're given a heading, and let's say the heading is it's 280. So I go down here and I dial in 280 right on that arrow. Now what I have to do is I have to move so that that compass lines up right there to the marks, and then I look down the string towards the arrow for 280. So in order to get a good line, you have all that measured up. You take your string and you line it up with your arrow in front, and looking out, you can line it up with where your azimuth is. Engineering compass is not as effective or accurate as a lensatic compass. So this is a lensatic compass that has a little thumb hold here, which this thumb hold does just kind of lock it into place, or you can put your thumb hold in it just like I have it here. And it has, if you can just see this wire that's right inside this part, that's the front sight. And then this is actually a magnifying glass, and you have a rear sight. And then of course you have the compass inside here that turns as I turn the compass. You can open this all the way up, and it does have a meter here on the side. But so you look through this magnifying glass to the tiny numbers that are on the inside till you have the number that you want. And let's say that you wanted to 280, so it's about right in there. Okay. And then once you have it, you're looking down here and you have the 280, you shift your focus to this rear sight and line that up with the front sight, and you can see right out into the distance the heading that you want to go. And that's what makes this so accurate. All right, so this is how you set up a lensatic compass. So this is kind of at a little bit of a triangle, and you have a little sight glass here and a little hair that's on this piece. So what I'm going to do in order to use these is you hold it right up to your cheek, and you look down through the magnifying glass to see what number that you want it on. There's a tiny little mark here, like a little back sight, and then you put it through the thread that's in the front part of the lensatic compass, and you can mark out exactly the heading that you want that's out in the distance. This is very accurate, and there's a reason why a lot of military folks use these rather than an engineering compass. And here is a close-up looking through the magnifying glass in front. As you can see, I can move it to the heading that I want to have it on. If I'm looking for 280, I put it on 280, and then I look through the rear sight and the front sight out into the distance to determine my heading.